Hey, Astros fans, we hope that you had a great weekend. Unfortunately, this weekend, the Astros had a legend, somebody that has only played with the Astros for 5 years, but he has left his imprint with the Astros that we will feel for a long time. And that is Michael Brantley. He has decided to hang up his cleats and go ahead and become Coach Brantley, but not what you think. We're going to discuss this and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros. Your team every day. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your daily listen. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go ahead and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Wherever you listen to your podcast, check out the Locked On Astros podcast. Do us a favor. 2024 is a new year. Go ahead and make us your first listen. Become an everydayer. Somebody listens to our podcast every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50 plus infections. Get yours today at jacemedical.com and use the code Locked On and get $20 off your order. That's JASE medical.com. So as we heard about in the intro, Michael Brantley this weekend announced his retirement from baseball. This was something that we all kind of expected, especially after the Astros didn't make it to the World Series this year, and Michael Brantley missed a big chunk of the season with his shoulder issues, and it's something that he had to kind of fight his way back, but he made an impact during not only getting the Astros to the playoffs, but even in the playoffs. So his bat will be missed. I think his leadership skills will be missed. And Jim Crane actually wants to try to bring him back with the Houston Astros at some point. But for right now, all we know is that Michael Brantley, after 15 years in the big leagues, after 19 years as a professional baseball player, Michael Brantley has decided that he wants to spend more time with his kids. And he's going to be Coach Brantley for right now. He's going to sign up and be one of his kids' coaches. And this is something he couldn't do as a MLB baseball player with all the commitments, everything that's going on. So after 15 years, he decided to hang up his cleats. 10 years with the Cleveland Guardians. Some of those years were as technically Indians, but then 5 years with the Astros. He did sign 2 consecutive, 2 years, $32 million deals with the Astros. The last year was $12 million for last season. He didn't play a lot last season, but his impact was felt. He's a 5-time All-Star. He's a World Series championship. With the Astros, he had a 305 batting average, a 828 OPS, and he made one of the thing that I'm going to remember the most about Michael Brantley is not home runs, not just him just missing a week and coming back and getting 4 hits to lead the Astros into the postseason this last year. But in 2019, that insane double play he made against the Yankees where he doubled off Aaron Judge when he caught the sinking line drive and then threw out Aaron Judge at first base. And if you want to go see that glove that Michael Brantley made the catch with, it is in Cooperstown. So you can go make a visit up to Cooperstown, New York, and go see that. But that I still am amazed at that play. And I just think about, wow, just not only for him to have the present minds to actually go for that ball, catch it, but to throw it to first base and get Aaron Judge out. And Aaron Judge, I just saw the replay a few minutes ago, and it's just like Aaron Judge is like, how did that happen? I mean, yeah, Aaron Judge, you should make sure that it gets caught first, but whatever. So This is he only won one World Series with the Astros, uh, but that was in 2022, and the team, a lot of his teammates, uh, wanted to make sure that he was one of the first people to touch the trophy because he never wanted to touch a World Series trophy until his team actually won it. So it's just something that he felt like he should do in this generation where all these kids that play t-ball, everybody gets a trophy, everybody wins. You don't have to. I mean, you don't have to win the championship to get a trophy. You get participation trophies. Michael Brantley's not that type of guy. He's the guy that no, I don't want to touch the trophy until I actually win it, and that's what he did with the Houston Astros. Unfortunately, the 2022 season he didn't play a lot at the end. He didn't participate in playoffs because of that shoulder, the shoulder that would bug him a lot in 2023 as well. But he was able to come back late in the season. And he wasn't a waste. I know he didn't play a lot the last couple of years, but his presence was felt on the bench. I know that the reason why Michael Brantley came here in the first place was because of his friendship with George Springer, Joe Smith. They kind of said, "Hey, come to Houston. We'll go ahead and try to win a World Series." So his first year with the Astros was in 2019. That year, he had a career high in home runs with 22. He had 90 RBIs. He batted 311 that season with 875 OPS. A lot of people are like, wow, if we get this Michael Brantley every season, that'd be great. In 2020, he only had 170 at bats. In 2021, he had 469 at bats. In 2022, he had 243 at bats. And in 2023, he only had 54 at bats. So, yes, he dealt with a lot of health issues at the end of his career, but this guy didn't earn the repetition of being called Dr. Smooth for no reason. This guy just could go out and get a single without even trying. Yes, he had some occasional power. He had 129 career home runs. He had 720 career RBIs. He had a career 298 batting average with a OPS career of 794. So his OPS plus for his career was 117 as well. So he was above average, a lot above average Major League Baseball player. Is he a Hall of Famer? I don't think he did enough to get into a Hall of Fame. Did he do enough to get an Astros Hall of Fame? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think you have the longevity. He was there for one of the times the Astros won a World Series, but I just think that he missed a lot of time. I'm not trying to discount how good a player he is. I think the Astros needed his bat in there. He's one of the most natural hitters from the left side that you'll ever see. And I think the Astros, they needed him in the playoffs last year. There's a lot of criticism. Why wasn't he in the games a lot more in the postseason? I don't think his shoulder was completely healed last year. I mean, I don't think he was 100% even in the playoffs. So there's a lot of stuff that was going on last year. And Jim Crane wants to keep him involved because this guy is a leader. This guy is somebody that people listen to. And we'll talk in a second about what he did after the Astros season ended last year. And we'll go ahead and talk about what his plans are for retirement. And then a little bit later, the Astros have put in a bid for the WBC. What does that mean for the Astros? What does that mean for Houston? And what does that mean overall? Hey guys, let's go and talk about Jace Medical. Jace Medical, it's something that you don't know you need until you actually need it. So I know that y'all come to watch the Locked On Astros podcast to kind of escape the craziness of real life. Right now, the weather's really bad outside. There's some threats of flooding with the winter storm that's about to hit Houston. But can we talk for a second about preparing for real life? According to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right now in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade. This is scary. I can't imagine how hopeless I would feel if my girlfriend or my kids or anybody I know got sick and they couldn't get a hold of any type of antibiotic. That's why Jace case is something you need to have right now, because you have 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, among others. This stuff can happen to any of us at any time. So visit jacemedical.com and complete your physical physician encounter. It'll be reviewed by a board certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the cost of regular costs at a pharmacy. It's been never more important to be prepared than today. Go to jacemedical.com and use the code locked on to get $25 off your order. And guys, don't forget, go check out the Locked On Sports today. It is the first ever 24/7 streaming channel out there. It's got all the sports, all the news you need to know, 24/7 streaming. It has like what's going on with the Texans. The Texans are going to the playoffs. I'm excited about that. I enjoyed that game out today. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that going on with all the NFL playoffs. All the matchups are set. So go to Locked On Sports today and subscribe to the first ever national sports 27 streaming channel. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to Michael Brantley. And by the way, congrats, Texans. That was an awesome game the other day. The fact that they were willing to take on that safety instead of giving the Colts a chance to get another touchdown, that was a bold move, but it was a smart move. It was about knowing how much time you had left in game and knowing that it would take a miracle for the Colts to get it done. And so I know a lot of people come here for baseball, but not football, but I'm really excited that the Texans were able to do that. So I think that basically Michael Brantley knew at the end of the season that he was going to retire, and he was kind of thinking about it. But he didn't really tell his teammates. But at the end of the season, he kind of had a team meeting with the whole team, and he said he thanked everybody. And he said for all the support and for his time with the Houston Astros, kind of signaling that he was done, at least with the Houston Astros. But he knew that it was very possible that he was not going to play another. He's not going to have another bat in baseball. And so he thanked them for for their support, their hard work, and for helping him get his World Series ring. Because you have to understand that I know players that are on the Astros, we see them go to the playoffs a lot. We see Michael Brantley, he went to 9 playoffs in his career. And I think he went to at least two or three World Series or something like that. But teams just don't roll out playoffs like the Astros do. So for a player to be on a team like the Astros, it's a very big honor because teams don't always go to the playoffs. So it's been pretty cool that he did this. So I think that he was part of 4 postseason teams with the Indians, and also he was with the 5 postseason teams with the Astros. So he has a lot of experience there. So I think that just what he did is just awesome what he did with the Houston Astros. And he says, I have young kids, and now it's time to be dad, first and foremost. It's time for me to be home 24/7, watch my kids grow up, and not miss important milestones. So he won't be just watching his kids. He actually signed up to be a little league coach for his son, Michael III and Maxwell. So he'll actually be out there coaching these little kids. So I can't imagine going from playing against the in the playoffs last year with the Houston Astros to going to be a little league dad. I mean, I could just imagine some mom yelling at him and saying, why didn't you start my kid? And he's like, Mom, I appreciate this, but I heard a lot worse from Yankees fans, so I can handle you. So go sit down. But I think that what you saw is this guy deserved a lot of trust. Dusty Baker, with the season on the line, the playoffs on the line, the kind of where they sat in the standings on the line, Dusty Baker put Michael Brantley in the game after he missed a whole week because of the shoulder stiffness. And he came back and had a 4-hit game to help the Astros kind of clinch the playoffs and clinch their eventual seed. So this guy is just one of those guys. Moises Alou is a name that just comes up. He can just not play for a week or 2 weeks and just come in and just start hitting the ball. I know that there's a lot of issues with his rehab this time around where he would get started and then he would have to shut it down for a little bit because of some issues. But I just think that shoulder, there's a lot more wrong with that shoulder than I think we knew. But I think that he made the right decision. A lot of players don't know when it's time to end. You have that competitive juices. You want to keep on going. You want to try to hit a certain milestone. But Brantley's like, yeah, after last year, I just want to spend time with my kids. I want to be dad. I want to do that. So this is what he said after October and getting a home run against the Twins and still contributing. He said it was huge. At that time, you're in the moment and trying to win a game to advance. I didn't want to celebrate right then, but inside it felt so good to contribute. Jose Abreu hit a huge homer for us to solidify the win. Just having the opportunity meant a lot to me. I still thank my teammates, the coaching staff, and our medical staff for putting me in the position to help the team again. So, yeah, Michael Brantley had to fight back many times from injuries in the last couple seasons to do what he did. But I think that he's a legendary player. He has a lot of respect across baseball, and he played for 2 great managers, Terry Francona and Dusty Baker. They're both likely Hall of Fame managers, and so he's going to become a coach now. And he said, this is what Michael Brantley said. I had my family with me that night, celebrating with the trophy in our dugout. I would never touch the trophy until we won it. To have that moment with my family was so special. So, yes, he did go to 9 postseason team. He was on 9 postseason teams. So I was correct about that. So I think that overall, Michael Brantley just decided to hang it up. And Jim Crane said he was instrumental in a lot of runs we were in. It's unfortunately he couldn't play much last year. We probably would have had a better chance. He did contribute a little bit. He was a key component to our lineup, a great compliment to Yordan Alvarez, both great left-handed hitters. He was one of our key guys and will be missed. So Brantley says he's going to spend most of his time with his family, which lives in Palm City, Florida. It's not too far from a spring training facility in West Palm Beach. Crane says he's going to try to keep Brantley involved in the organization. And this is what Crane said. I'll grab him when I'm down there and I'll talk to him a bit. Wink, wink. He'll be great. He was great in the locker room and could be a guy who could be a helpful coach or doing something, whatever he liked to do. Particularly being so close to spring training, he could work with some of our rehab guys. I'll visit with him soon about that. So you've seen in the past where Jeff Bagwell or even Craig Biggio will be down there at spring training, just working with some of the young guys. I can see Michael Brantley just coming down for maybe a week or 2 weeks during spring training and just working with some minor leagues. Hey, kid, this is what you got to do. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for the Astros to keep him involved, but also kind of just get some more of that experience. And Michael Brantley, he's going to want to still stay in the game. He'll want to, because he's still semi-young in terms of playing age. He is, how old is he? He is, where's his age? He's 36. So he's 36 years old. Most people try to go to 37, 38. Some people play into their 40s, like Justin Verlander does. So I think that Michael Brantley might still have that itch, but I think getting him involved on the coaching side, I think will help him and will help the Astros. And also, he'll have time to focus on the family, which is what is his priority in life right now. So we'll go ahead and talk about. So thank you, Michael Brantley, for all your contributions with the Houston Astros. I'll give you one more stat in a second. That's very impressive what Michael Brantley has done in his career. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Houston's bid for the 2026 World Baseball Classic. Hey guys, let's talk about FanDuel. FanDuel, I think they had the odds wrong, I guess the Texans beat the odds last week. And so if you went against the odds, you made some money last week. But FanDuel is out there. The NFL playoffs are here, and it's still time to get into the action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 dollars in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like same day game parlays, find bets in a new Explorer tab, like what's going to happen, what's CJ Stroud going to do, how many home runs is Jordan Alvarez going to hit this year? Is Michael Brantley actually going to stay retired, or is he going to come back like Michael Jordan in a couple years and unretire? I'm sure there's some type of bet out there. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub. The best way to find popular parlays. There's so many different ways to bet with FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. All right, so I wanted to give you a stat, and this is from Ryan Spader, but I thought that this was pretty cool. Michael Brantley had 6,163 plate appearances during his career. He only struck out looking 210 times. 62 of those were pitches that came outside of the strike zone. So this is a guy that had a great eye. He knew when a pitch was a strike. He knew when a pitch was a ball. And that's why they called him Dr. Smooth. He's called Uncle Mike mostly because his relationship with George Springer, but also he's one of those veteran leaders, one of those guys that will sit down with you, have a conversation with you about baseball, and help you out a little bit as well. So I think that the Astros are going to miss him in the dugout. He's a great leader, but I think with all his shoulder issues, I think it's time for him to retire. His best playoff moments with the Astros, of course, was at double play, but also in 2020 playoffs, he batted .305 with 3 home runs and 11 RBIs. So he's had some good moments with the Astros, and we'll always remember that double play against the Yankees because that was a big key back then. So let's go ahead and move away from Coach Brantley now, since he's coaching Little League, and move on to what's on everybody's mind. Oh, I did put this up. So this is a message from Michael Brantley. If you want to read it, you can go ahead and go to X and look that up. But it was a cool little statement from him right there. But let's go ahead and talk about the World Baseball Classic. I know a lot of people are not fans of the World Baseball Classic right now because of what it did to Jose Altuve last year and potentially what it did to Luis Garcia, potentially having him miss most of last year and missed half the season this year. But there is a chance that the Astros could be hosting the part of the World Baseball Classic in 2026. So as far as I know, the Houston and Dallas have both put in bids to be host for the 2026 World Baseball Classic. It's likely that Miami will be one of the cities because of it just makes a lot of sense for especially for a lot of the Latin America countries. It's just so easy to travel there. So Miami is likely to be one of the host cities. But there's last year, I believe it was Arizona or some team like that, some city that hosted it. But so I think Houston has a good chance. They wanted a team, a city that had a retractable roof that would now fit Arlington and Houston. So there's about 20 countries that do participate in the WBC. And so it's a big event. And I know maybe in America, we don't really think of it as such a big deal, but these international countries, it's a big deal. Their country's pride is on the line. And so we saw the passion. I watched some of those games last year, and it's just amazing. And Brett went to a couple of games when he was in Florida, and he said the passion of the fans, the climate is just awesome. And so if it is in Houston, try to get out there and watch some of these games. You'll be impressed with how much love these fans that have come over from different countries they have for their home team. So I know that the 2023 WBC, 1.3 million fans attended its 47 games. So just think about all the people that would be coming to Houston to see these. It's not just Houstonians. It's going to be people traveling from all over the country, from outside the country. So this would be a good way to bring in revenue to Houston. Houston's already trying to get the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup as well. So Houston is becoming a place where these big events, you can host them. So I know that this is something that I hope not the Astros, I keep on saying Astros, but the Houston can get. It will be played at Minute Maid Park, of course, which is owned by the Astros, but it's not just going to benefit the Astros. They'll make some money from it, but it's also going to benefit the city of Houston, because once all those 1.3 million, I doubt that many people would come just to Houston, but if half that or maybe a third of that, that'll just be a lot of people coming to watch some baseball. And so that's just something to keep your eye on. But for right now, Michael Brantley no longer playing baseball. Now the Astros, are they going to make any more moves, or is what you see what you're going to get? There's still a lot of free agents out there. And I just want to tell y'all that you have a couple reasons for that. You have these agents trying to get top of the line deals for these players, and you have these teams that don't want to pay a lot for these players. So eventually, the closer we get to spring training, you're going to see some of these teams start kind of maybe agreeing to some of these higher prices. You also see some of the players being like, okay, I'll go ahead and meet you halfway or something like that. But for right now, there's still a lot of big name free agents out there. And Teoscar Hernandez, former Astro, he did sign with the Dodgers for 1 year. I think it's 23 point something million deal. So the Dodgers look like a pretty good team now. So they do have they've added some power. They've added a great pitcher. So while the Yankees are just kind of sitting on their hands waiting to see what big free agent they can do. But I know the Astros haven't done much either, but they're in a position where they're at the luxury tax threshold, and they're trying to decide, are we going to go all in or just kind of hold the line until we decide if this is really a World Series competitor. So that's something that they can decide later. So Brett and I will be back tomorrow for another Locked On Astros podcast. Thank you for listening, and make sure you make us your daily listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. If you listen to your podcast, really check out Locked On Sports Today. It's the first 24/7 streaming channel. All the local news, all the news around the country, 24/7. It's on YouTube. Go and make them your second listen and just have it all streaming all day. maybe when there's some Astros news, you'll see Locked On Astros podcast there. My name is Eric Huysman. My co-host is Brett Chancey, and Go Astros, and we will see you later.